thing on? I don't know. I'm going to go with it. Hey, what's up? It's me, Animal. Only on Animal Expedition Files. See you there. Hey everybody, welcome to the Animal Expedition Files. I am your host, The Animal. Thank you so much for being patient with me. Saturday was kind of a technical difficulty day. Everything just not wanting to work in my favor, but it is Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Things are working here, so and I see people are joining in right now in the chat room and excuse me, and coming on. So thank you so much for that. But please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. This has been such a crazy weekend, crazy week, crazy couple of weeks actually. Been doing some things, going to movie premieres, talking to a lot of cool people that are making a lot of cool stuff and movies, television shows, commercials, you name it. And we just don't do that. We do paranormal stuff too, Bigfoot, UFOs, conspiracy theory. We check it all. So horror movies. But thank you so much, everybody, for just joining us. I got Joe in the background, Joe Furnari. You don't want to miss out. He is an amazing guest. I met him at the premiere. Amazing people. Can't wait to have him on. But let's actually get him on now so we can have some fun here, have some conversations about what he's doing, and especially I'll talk about a little bit about the premiere on Velvet Hammer. So let's get him on and say hello. What's up,
Hey,
brother? How's it going?
What's going on? Thank you for having me on.
Not a problem, man. It was really good getting to actually meet you on last Monday at the premiere. I mean, I can't believe it's just been over a week now that the premieres happened. Velvet Hammer. It was a very interesting night. A lot of amazing people. A lot of people. A lot of photo action. A lot of movies. Yeah, but let's talk a little bit about you and what you got going on here, Joe. Usually what I usually ask people is, before we keep going, is a little bit about yourself. How did you get into filming movies and getting into that kind of journey?
Yeah, so first of all, my name's Joe. Originally from New York. Basically I was a DJ for over 20 years, and then I always enjoyed doing movies. I was extra in a Seth Rogen film called The Night Before, that Christmas film. So I get to meet all of them. So I enjoy doing stuff like that. But now, moving on to, I guess, the future of things. Uh, sorry, I got distracted. Um, Basically, I was just DJing a bar one night. The bouncer, and he's like, "Yeah, we should make a horror movie or something. Let's make a movie." And I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be pretty fun." And then kind of like it just snowballed after that. We decided, "Hey, let's make it." I wrote a script. Didn't do nothing. It was around like COVID time, maybe like right towards the end or whatever. So nobody was making movies at all down here at the time. So it
Yeah.
was like a good time just to slide in. Met a lot of great people. Met this guy named Jonathan Montez, and he just promoted like a lot of it, and next thing you know, it became like a big thing. Then ended up meeting up Heather Fairley. Then we partnered up, and then it kind of just things just took off like sporadically, really quick, and it was just supposed to be like a fun thing, and then it kind of just then turned into a business. So I went from the DJ world now into the film world. So it's crazy.
Yeah, going through especially going through music and DJ and stuff and two movies. That's definitely a very interesting transition, right there. Especially music and movies, which is really cool because you could actually mix the both, especially in those both genres. But like in this like journey right now that you're going through in the movie scene, like What's your most favorite part of like making a film, going through this whole process of, I know there's so many processes, finding actors,
Mm.
actors, directors, writers, you name it. Like what is the process for that with you guys?
For us, I mean, we're all in-house, so I mean, for my personal stuff, I write, I direct, I shoot, I edit, I can do sound, I can train people on how to do things, so we can all work as a team. So I started just like as a one-man band because that's what I was really used to, even in my music career. So kind of just whatever I could do and just learn it, and then I can teach it and then grow with others. But my favorite part is actually working with a bunch of people, not just like an individual, as an artist, like a DJ by yourself. It's really good to have like a full team. So you're working with multiple actors and actresses and other crew members, and you get to network. You see what people like and don't like, and you get to be really creative with others. And I think that's like my favorite part is actually just putting creativity mindsets together and just seeing what the final outcome comes out to be.
Yeah. No, yeah, that would definitely make sense. Especially well, there's so much you gotta do. Especially you're like a one man band. It's not an easy person. Like what I'm doing here, podcasting and all kind of stuff. It's not an easy realm to be in, especially when you're doing it by yourself.
Yeah, it's tough. Even when I did radio, I did my own shows, podcasts, and even back in New York, we actually had a really popular online radio station. I actually had a couple of my buddies with me, but I always had to reach out to a bunch of celebrities. I always had celebrity guests come on from like different hip hop artists and stuff like that. I don't know how I pulled the strings and got them, but I did. I got lucky at the time. Um, Now it's a little bit more difficult, but back then it was for some reason I just reached out to a bunch and they're like, "Yeah, I love your show. It's so different." So I'm like, "Okay." And we were just like a online radio station, kind of like what you're doing, and it blew up in New York. And then, we did that for a while. We had like one of the best shows out there. And then next thing you know, we kind of just split it apart. We went our ways. I moved down to Florida, and people started doing different things. So, but yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. I mean, it's a great hustle. It's fun. You get to talk to different people all the time. You get to network, and it's a great experience. I know about you. You learn about me. So it's cool.
Yeah, that's really especially about networking. Like, oh, example like these premieres. Do you ever find it easy, like at these premieres, to find people to be able to like play a role, a special role in one of your movies?
Like, have I found anybody like by networking to
By
join?
networking at premieres and stuff at film festivals, like is it easy like finding people like that, like on the spot when you like need somebody?
I mean, if you're outgoing and you're, personality, you're not afraid to go up to somebody and talk to them and have a conversation. I'm a very shy person. So like, Heather, she would do a lot of talking with people 'cause a lot of people know her, and then I would just start talking to them. Online, I can talk. I guess like one of those behind the screen, I can talk and I can network.
Yeah,
That's kind of like my thing. And then once I'm in person and I get to know them, they get to know me, then it's easy for me to talk and network. But yeah, like at events and everything like that, it's always good to see who's out, what people are doing. And especially when you have something that you can also talk about and relate to, it's a little bit easier because we all have one big common goal. We all have at this time interest. So it's great. It's like, when you meet like a best friend and you guys have the same things in common, it just
yeah.
clicks. So that's kind of what you're doing. And you're just talking about film and the passion for it. So
What was your most difficult part, like in this industry with filmmaking? Like what was your most hardest that you would feel like be the hardest thing to do in filmmaking?
uh I mean, everything in filmmaking is not easy at all.
Yeah,
Um, like, I mean, our first feature film that I did, even before I met Heather, how I was started, I shot the thing in 4 days, and that was a big struggle because that was me just learning on the spot and trying to take on all these new people I never met before, and trying to control a whole ship, and just trying to make it to work. And that was shooting a whole feature film in 4 days, and that's how it also kind of sparked it. Like, who's this guy doing a feature film in only 4 days, and not just like doing a short film. Usually, people start with short films and stuff like that. So doing a feature film coming right out the gate, kind of like this guy's nuts. Like, what is he doing? But it worked and it sparked interest. Had a good story and everything. But now that's what we're kind of leading into, which we'll go more a little bit later. But yeah, the hard thing is kind of, you know, it's just like anybody else. It's like when you start achieving, you got to worry about people. They either going to respect you, they're going to support you, or they're just going to be like your hater, and then they'll try to bring you down. And that's the hardest part is competition, I guess. So it's very competitive. So
yeah,
some people will try to knock you down, and they'll talk very poorly about you. Um, I'm not saying like me personally, but I'm saying like other people just goes through all will go through this. They'll have those moments. They'll get praised. Oh, you're doing amazing, but then there's other times they get bashed really bad, and it's kind of disgusting. But that's the part I don't like about the film industry is that it can be very cutthroat. So you got to be have some thick skin to be in it.
Yeah, especially like I know a lot of actors and stuff like that like are very careful what they say and stuff like that in the industry because someone hears something else and then they'll like bash them for that. It's a very sad moment because like if you think about it, it's like kind of like what we do like in the paranormal stuff. Like we're supposed to be like in it together, not bash each other and supposed to be
Hmm.
each other because you're pretty much there for the same common goal is to make a film something
Hmm.
amazing that will like people will be like, oh, and be excited about. And it's just really sad that people bash others because of something they just have some ego or some whatever like that.
Hmm. Yeah, a lot of miscommunication happens a lot too. So I would just say just be humble, be straightforward. But when it does happen, you meet those people, it's amazing. And then you build that relationship and everything's just really good. And then you meet a lot of great people, like especially like I'm not saying the whole industry's bad, but you're gonna come across just like in a day job or anything else in the real world, you're gonna
Yeah.
come across apples. But for the majority part, it's great. You go to these festivals, you meet other people, you network, and you all like just love that passion. So it's so strong usually with everybody. So everyone usually just has a good time.
Yeah. Especially at that premiere. Like it was probably my first premiere ever to be able to go to and just seeing the unity of people being happy and just being silly and excited and taking pictures with each other and knowing
Hmm.
like a bad seat against anybody. It was comforting because like usually when I go to places, people are always like just mad at each other.
Hmm.
And it's really cool to be able to see people just smiling, all dressed up and just having a great time.
Yeah, so festivals are great. We're going on our third annual film festival. It's taking place in November. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun, especially when you get to create things and make things happen.
Yeah, I'm very excited to hear what goes on. I know you can't talk much about what you got going on, but what is can you say the name of the movie that you'll be premiering?
Well, so there's the festival that's going to premiere a bunch of different short films, documentary, student films, feature films. But before the festival kicks off, we're actually going to premiere our feature film, which is called Hunter's Cabin: Flesh and Blood, which is kind of like a horror action, which is actually a sequel to the first Hunter's Cabin, which I told you that I did in 4 days. That was my first film, so it's kind of like a sequel to that, but we kind of redid it and made it just a lot better, like the better quality, the audio's better. I took my time. I didn't just shoot it in 4 days. I actually shot it in like 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Still whatever. So it took a little bit more time, had a lot more experience since then. So a lot of night and day. So we're not really showing the first one, never really released it because it was just, the quality was it wasn't the greatest. It had really rough audio or whatever, but the story was amazing. The special effects makeup was perfect. Like there's certain things that was really good about it, but there's other parts like eh. But we're gonna include those good parts from the first one and put into this one and kind of treat it as like the main one, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
Now,
Yeah.
like when you say like you done the film in 2 weeks and stuff like that, is it like I know like a day to day kind of shooting? Is it like a 9 to 5 kind of thing, or is it like a full day of shooting, like day on, so you could get those 2 weeks in? Because I know you have a cap like with budgeting and everything has to be like and set in line. If not, it costs you more money. Like
Yeah.
take a little bit into that.
Yeah, so I mean, there's different ways you could do that. So there's people that could shoot straight 2 weeks straight or a month straight with no days off. I think last one I tried to take like certain days off so it wasn't just continuous because this rough ones like that very very tiring. But when I've been on film sets so it was like a month straight and that's no days off. So you're thinking every single day, 12 to 18-hour days every single day for a whole month. So yeah, no, it's not your 8-hour shift, not even close. If you get an 8-hour shift, that's like, whoo, that's an early day. Then you feel good. You're like, oh man, that was a short day. 8 hours,
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
that felt great. But yeah, no, usually it's like on average, it's like anywhere between like 14 to 18 hours for independence.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you do big productions, you can budget when you have more of a budget and you can take your time and do it. But when you're an independent filmmaker, it's more tougher because you got people's availabilities. people got jobs, so you always constantly got to work around everybody's schedule. So that prolongs and that makes the days even longer because you have like one batch come in and then they'll have to leave and then a new batch of people come in. So it's like just to get the shots that you need to get done. So it does make it harder when it comes to that aspect, but yeah.
That's all. Yeah, that's definitely. I can see that's a lot of work, especially makeup and everything you got to get into. But one question I do want to ask you because which is very intriguing to me because of we're working in the world of AI right now and script writing and everything that's going on. The edit, I mean, you could pretty much do it anything with AI right now and stuff like that. What, like, what kind of how can I explain it? How does AI work in the movie industry today with all the troubles that it's bringing to everybody's job?
You got to use AI as a creative tool, not as like a replacement. And I noticed actually a lot more with this film compared to other films I did. When you try to use AI, it doesn't work as you think it works. Like people always like, oh, this looks amazing, and you follow step by step things. Never comes out like that because it doesn't fit your project. If it's just like one clip and you're doing like something simple, okay, cool, you can have fun with it. But when you're actually trying to put that into like a real big project, it's not that easy. Usually, like my favorite tool for like an AI, I guess you could call it, is like a voice isolation that
Mhm.
helps remove the background. And in the beginning, I used to love this. I made so many great short films. I removed it all. But now, like when you come across more issues, it just sounds more muddier and it's not as good as I remembered it being. And I'm just fighting, like just changing my EQ nonstop. And I'm just like, this voice isolation, it works to an extent now, but not as good as it used to, or in my mind, because maybe I'm just listening to audio 100 times over and over. But there's some good tools that just speeds up the workflow. Like masking used to take forever. I don't know if you know what that even is. Like a rotoscope, and when you're trying to cut somebody out of a background. So if it's like you and I want to remove your whole background, back in the earlier years, you had to like draw every dot around you, and then you had to track it very slowly, and it's a long tedious process that takes
Yeah.
hours. Now AI makes it faster. 2 clicks of a button
Yeah.
tracks it. You're done in like 10 seconds. You can remove the background, do what you need to, and then move on. So it has benefits if you use the tools in those sense. But if you use it just like, hey, this is going to do my job and I want it to do everything, I think it's a better Google AI. There's certain things I'm trying to figure out, which you can't really just find regular Googling. But if I go on, I don't know, ChatGPT, whatever, and like, yo, I want to make this sound like this with my 5.1 surround sound, and how should I, sync this with kind of EQ and shit, and they give you like a good milestone, better than just trying to Google and trying to figure out yourself. Sometimes they'll give you like a nice breakdown, and then you train
Yeah.
it the way you want it to be trained. So it's kind of like it's learning the way you want it to learn. And even though I know the answers, I'll train it so it knows to respond better. So like if it gives you a wrong answer, no, that doesn't work, da da da, do this, and then it does it and it fixes it. Yeah, you're right, it's a new update and da da da. So it learns and it trains. So if you use it for that purpose, like just for tools to help you guide you a long way, great. But don't think of it as just going to replace your job. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Even colorists were trying to test this theory recently because you can make like LUTs. I don't know if you know what that is, like a lookup look that you slap on an image. You can create that right in Chat GDP. Like, hey, I want to look. Here's an image of, I don't know, let's say Joker. I want to look like this. Make me a LUT. It'll create you a LUT right there on the spot, and you can put it in your program. And it doesn't look like it's supposed to. Even if you do the whole process right, it's not there. It's close. Sometimes it can be really close, but it's not like going to replace you. So, but over time, it will get better. But I still don't think it's gonna replace it. Oh, just speed up workflows, which is good because now people want things done faster, and that's the issue. It's quick turnaround times. So we don't have a quick turnaround time. Like I'll get somebody who do it faster. So the AI can push you to do things in a timely manner.
Well, especially with scripts and stuff like that, because there's like hundreds of pages that you have to write and stuff like that. And sometimes probably AI is probably a better use for it when you got to get something done in a certain time.
Yeah, scripts are good. Like, I've used it before for writing like basic script ideas. So like, hey,
Mhm.
I want to write a script about like this concept. And then I'll spit something out, and then I'll just reword it or revamp it to make it my own. But it will jot it all out and how it should be. But they always use the same names, and so you always get like the same like 10 names for a boy or a girl. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah,
So you gotta be more creative, come up with your own names because it's horrible at coming up with names. It's always the same ones. But yeah, I'll give you like a decent one. Some of them are actually not that bad. Some are actually really good, and I'm like, okay, I like this, and then I just change it so it doesn't sound AI-ish, I guess. And
Yeah.
then it's there, but it speed up my workflows like really quick. But once again, still can't really replace your mindset and how you think it. You could just train it how you want, but
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting how AI goes into everything in the next like 5 to 10 years, because I know it's changing a lot today, especially how we use our phones and stuff like that, and shopping and buying stuff. So it's gonna be very interesting what it does in the movie industry.
yeah, like I said, it's got a lot of great tools and a lot of great features, especially when it comes to visual effects. They're always Hollywood uses it all the time now. They're using big things for
Yeah,
certain visual effects, and it just speeds up workflows. That's what it really is doing. It's just like they could get a little bit better outcome, using an AI feature that may speed it up a little bit better, and doesn't look like Scorpion King at the end, where it looks really bad. And they could use something, help them move it a little bit a long way.
I remember
Uh,
that.
and most of the time, like when you like watch those horrible CGI films or VFX films, if you actually talk to those designers who did it, they all say the same thing. Listen, I hate that work. It's the worst work I've ever done in my life. But when the like the main Hollywood production company is saying, "Hey, this needs to be done by tomorrow," and they don't care what it looks like, yeah, I don't care what it looks like. Here you go, and they
Yeah,
keep it because they want it done in a timeline. And that's the number one thing they all say. They say, listen, it's always garbage because the timeline is basically impossible. Like they want it done like yesterday. And for CGI, it doesn't look like the visual effects. It takes a lot of time and a lot of people. It takes a lot of people. So yeah, I laugh at that because it's just like it's true. So when you see crappy CGI, I really don't blame them because you can see other work that could be amazing because they took the time and did it. But you see things that look like, oh, it looks horrible. I never want to hire that guy ever. And then they're like, check out my other work because they give me
yeah.
a day to do that. This is what I did in a year. You can see a difference. So yeah,
No, that's very interesting because, oh man, I couldn't imagine just doing it in a day and trying to make something so perfect. Like you said, it takes a lot of work and a lot of people to be able to do something really creative.
yeah, it takes months and people think we can knock out things so quick. I find it funny, but yeah, it doesn't work like that.
No,
Pre-production could take years. Post-production could take years. It all depends what you're trying to do.
well, that's why movies sometimes take like 4 to 5 years to just to make. It's if you want that great movie product.
Yeah, I mean, there's a YouTuber out who did Stranger Things, and he showed the whole timeline for the season, and so many different editors were on that project. That timeline was probably I'd never seen a timeline that massive before. That it was ridiculous. I don't even know, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tracks, and it just like covered like this big wide monitor. And I'm just like, that goes on for days, and
Yeah,
that's a lot of work. And it's just like, and there's a lot of people that was on that, and they broke that down. I was just like, yeah, and like this took 2 years to do. I'm like, I could see,
that's
and that's
great.
like one episode.
I know it blows my mind. I don't know how they do it. Speaking about people auditioning, one thing I wanted to talk to you with about
Mhm.
auditions, because I know pre-COVID auditioning was way different than it is after COVID. Because before you had to be there in the studio to do an audition. Now everything's like all digital and much easier. Like, is that the same process you have with your actors?
Yeah, so that kind of set the new wave of that. When I did my first film, I actually did a live auditions. I did it at a bar that I was DJing at. That's how I came up with the whole idea. So I asked the owner, "Hey, can I do my auditions here?" They're like, "Yeah, no problem. We don't open till whatever, so just do it in the morning." And then all these people came, they auditioned, and they hung out, had a couple drinks afterwards, had a good time. But yeah, so they loved it because it was like I said, it's on a cover time. So for them to actually have a chance to kind of go out and do something in person, they all enjoyed it. But yeah, since COVID, it set that mark. Everything now is Zoom, virtuals. Even in Hollywood, they don't even do in-person auditions anymore for Hollywood. It's all Zoom. It's all here. Your agency will write to you like, okay, here's the script, about 4 pages long. Just do your submission, send it back to me.
Yeah,
And that's all it is. It's just like them in front of their screen, and they kind of sit in the way. It's kind of nice though, because it makes it a little bit easier, and you don't have to worry about just sitting there all day and people come in. I enjoy it though. I like it like that. I like when people, because you meet them, you see their
Yeah.
personality, and you get a lot more out of them than you do just, you can't, like, you just watch the screen. If they're bad, like, oh, okay. But like if they're in person and they're nervous or something, but you
Yeah,
see something in them, you could be like, hey, why don't you try it like this? And then they can fix themselves, and then they can recorrect themselves, and that gives them a better chance. Because if they would spent that first thing I just saw of them, I was like, no, I'm gonna pass. But by
yeah,
me saying, hey, do this, um it worked. We did that with one of our actresses for the last film, Hunters, and she came because we were doing stuff, and she auditioned, and they're like, hey, why don't you try doing it like this? And then she did, and we're like, yeah, perfect, like that's exactly what we needed. If she did it the first one, we probably would have said, I don't know. So it has
yeah.
those pros and cons, pros and cons.
It must be hard to be able to pick someone like, especially if you get a lot of submissions or something like that, like to be able to pick out the right person for the right scene. Have you ever had someone like where like two people at the same time, how it was like it was perfect and it was hard to pick that person?
Happens all the time. Yeah, so at that point when it happens like that, you can either tell them come back in for like a second audition, try to give them like a different thing to audition with, like a different type of scene, to see how they would deliver it if it was, continuing on with that character. That's like one option we try to do first. If not, we really look at the script and be like, okay, does this person be that character? Like, does he have that look, or does she have that look? Do they have that style? Like, will
Yeah,
it make sense? Like that voice tone. Can you picture them saying this line? Can you picture them doing this action? I can picture the other person doing that. So then you kind of bounce out that way too. So
that's awesome. Well,
yeah.
what's your most favorite equipment to work with when you're doing these films, especially if it's like a 2 week, 3 week, a month out, like a long film that you have to be able to film. But like, what's the most favorite equipment, like film equipment or sound gear that you like to use when you're on set?
I mean, I'm a big gearhead. I love any time there's a new toy I can play with on set. Like,
Yeah,
oh, this is great. We got a cool new dolly, or oh, we got a cool gimbal, or oh, look at this cool fancy new lens that we're gonna try out
yeah,
today. Hey, I just bought this. I never used it before, but we're gonna use it and we're gonna see how it works. We did that a couple times actually on one of Heather's films in Georgia. I kept buying things. I was like, it'd be really good if we had this. And I was like, I'm just gonna buy it. I'm just gonna just bring it here. And then like I ended up buying like a monitor for like the last feature film. Like, it'd be really nice if we had like a big director's monitor, like a nice,
yeah.
22-inch screen. So what I do, I'm go out, I'm like, hey, look what I got, guys. A new toy
It's
to
a
put
hundred.
here. Look at because we got like noticing like everybody hovering over our backs, like trying to look at our screens, like when we're filming.
Yeah,
And like, we just need a big monitor screen, so I don't have to do that no
a
more.
hundred,
Like, look at
a
look at the big
hundred.
22-inch screen over there. Don't hover over us.
To get everybody 100-inch screen, that'd be
Y-
cool.
Yeah. So I mean, stuff like that. I mean, I love gear. I shoot on red cameras, Sony cameras, really anything. I started with Black Magic. That's what we did at first. Sometimes I did Black Magic for a while. I like
Uh,
Black Magic great, and then I kind of transferred into the red world.
yeah.
I like my red cinema cameras, but yeah.
Yeah, red and black magic are probably my favorites. They're a lot of fun, especially like all the freaking lens that they have for them and stuff. And uh, it's a lot of fun. I love toys, especially
Yeah,
drones. Drones are my favorite. I like
yeah,
filming with drones. They're pretty fun.
yeah. I fly drone every single day. My day job, I do real estate photography and videography,
Oh,
so I'm always, yep, flying those things around.
can you tell us like a little bit before like we head out soon? Can you tell us a little bit like other projects that you're working on there in the near future or like major projects?
Yeah, so I mean, after this one, I got so much editing to do between this one, but then also Heather, she had the two films called Blood Money. We're working on those, editing those up. But we are going to be filming a new film in November, probably like after the festival, called Love Thy Neighbor.
Oh yeah,
So that's Heather's film, and then we'll be associated with that. So we kind of thought of that idea. It's gonna be fun because that one's gonna be fun for me and the DP because we get to do a lot more practical effects, which I can't wait. So making like real like rain and making real like cool winds and stuff like that, and just be a little bit more creative. And actually, I'm looking forward to that because I could be a little bit more creative for that type of film, and try new things. So I'm looking forward to that. But we're always doing something new. Like every year, every you know few months after we finish one, we're like, oh, okay, that was fun. I don't want to edit no more. Let's just shoot something new. But still get it out in time. I already want to go out and shoot again. I kind of rather that than being behind a computer screen for hours and hours and hours every day.
Because you're pretty much on set, just doing cool things, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just yeah. I mean, when you have those long days though, and then sometimes you forget to eat. Next thing you know, you're like, "Oh, I haven't eaten in, like 3 days. Like maybe I should eat. Maybe I should eat something."
I mean,
Um, but yeah, so I mean, it gets hectic, but it has, like I said, good moments, bad moments. It's very tiring, but it's rewarding, especially when you see it's all done. So even when I'm editing and I'm now seeing it all come together, I'm just like, okay, I'm almost done with the audio phase, and now I can do like the final color grade and add all the visual effects. And I'm like, now I actually like really get to see it pop, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
that's all. I gotta get. I had a question. What is the hardest shot you had to get off, or what was the hardest roles you had to pull off?
Um, so for shot wise, there's a couple shots we had to get that were pretty tricky because I would come up with some weird creative ones. Um that I try to do if it's like doing some type of unique dollar shot that will go through something or some type of crazy focus pull, kind of like what they do with Jaws, like that whole like um vertigo type of effect.
Mhm.
But just different things. We just try to do different tools that are just different to pull off that we maybe never tried before. I always make a joke. I always said I want a DP to hang from a tree upside down, and I just
Yeah.
want to spin them around like a complete circle and get like the coolest shot ever.
Like,
Nobody wants to do it. Nobody's volunteering to do it. But one day maybe somebody will hang upside down from a tree, and I can spin them so they get like a cool 360 shot. Um, Wishful thinking. And then for acting, I mean, roles could be tough in general, especially when there's a lot of emotions. Um, I love playing like comedic and crazy bad guy roles. Those are like probably like my two favorites to play. But dramas are really tough. They're really hard to play. Like when you gotta like cry in a queue, or you gotta like really go into like a dark, dark mindset to be really depressed, or maybe if you're not feeling good, then make yourself happy. So like in that time where you are, just bring out all the emotions. The dramas take a lot out of you. And every time I work with an actor, I say, listen, after the scene, you're gonna be exhausted because I push them and I push them pretty hard. I'm like, nope, go dig deeper, dig deeper, dig deeper to the point where they're about to break, but like they'll still have their mean to them, but I'll get the best performance out of them.
yeah.
Um, and so it's like that, and then after that, that's hard for them because then they're like, okay, yeah, that was tiring. I need a break.
Well, it's a
Like, okay, good, because we got to do it about like three more times, and
very
and it just gets them going, and at that mindset, then they're like that, and then you try to snap. Okay, now take your break, regather yourself, and then the next thing you try to do with them, you try to make it not as daunting, so it's a little bit more easier for them to get back into rhythm. Because that's always the hardest for an actor is really going deep inside of an emotion. If it's anger, depression, over the top happy, but I mean, I haven't really come across having issues with that yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. So,
yeah. One thing I want to ask is like, because I know this is probably a very hard part, like, especially with a male and female, like acting as part as like kissing roles or something like that, or they have to do stuff together, especially when you're doing it around a lot of people. Like, is that, I don't know if you've been like, I don't know if you've experienced that in like filming, but like,
mhm.
how difficult is that, like, for an actor to be able to focus on something like that? Because I know you have to like really focus on it.
Yeah, it's different. Some people will think like, "Oh, you really enjoyed that or what?" But mostly the whole time you're thinking, "How do I look? Do I look stupid? Like, am my tongue sticking out too much? Am I doing too much? Like you just overthink everything. Like, am I a bad kid? Like, you're like, I want to make this okay, and you're not really even thinking about the person and really the kid. You're kind of just like playing tricks in your mindset the whole time, and it does get tough. And then sometimes when they're like, do it again, it's just like, all right, are you asking me to do it again because it's that bad, or are you just enjoying yourself too much? Sometimes I get a little nervous when I see some people like that. I'm like, are you just enjoying this too much, or is it really that bad? Um, but yeah, it could be awkward. It could be awkward for the actors, and it could be awkward for the actresses. If they're comfortable with the person, like if they're friends with somebody, it's usually easier for them to do. Usually, like when I act actors or actresses to do those type of scenes, I don't really make them do it a lot of times, like unless they feel like really awkward and they got to break that awkwardness. But most of the time they just want to get it done with. So they kind of just, hey, it's like meeting for the first time. It's like that first one night stand date type of thing. Let's see, we got it. Don't. But you know, and it usually works. But it does get very awkward because everyone's staring at you. Um, you know, sex scenes could be very, very awkward. Very,
Yeah.
very awkward.
But
When you got a camera in your face or whatever, or you know, it's just weird. Cause especially if it's like you're in a relationship with somebody or whatever, you're just like, okay, listen, this is just acting, you know, I'm not no things for this person. So, you know, you try to trip that in your mindset too. And so it's just a lot of just mind games, but you just gotta think of, okay, this is just acting. That's all it is. You know, most of the time they're just thinking, do I look good? Am I making funny faces? My eyes open? Like, I don't know. Like, you
my
know, you
kid,
just
my eyes open.
so.
Oh man, it's very interesting because like me, like I know if like I was there like doing something like that, I'd be like trying not to laugh because you're trying to be like in a serious role and you're like laughing about it. It's like
That
I'm trying
happens a lot
to get
too.
people to
hmm
do.
Yeah, that happens a lot too.
Oh man, yeah, that's to be very interesting. But yeah, I definitely had to ask you that question because I wasn't sure like the awkwardness and everything, just everybody watching it, especially with a camera, the sound guy, the lighting people, and just
Mhm.
extra just sitting there watching you, and it's like, um, should I not laugh or not? You know?
Yeah, it gets awkward, and it's like everything that you're known to. Like, even if you're like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know I got this. This is, you know, my own girlfriend or whatever. Or, and next thing you know, like, you ever done this before, bro? And you're like, yeah, yeah, just shit. Like, it just feel awkward. Like, stop staring at me.
Oh
Just
man,
seem like trying to take your belt off and you're like struggling so bad with it or something like that. You're just like, what? So yeah, it can be weird.
oh man. Well, before we head out here in a little bit, tell us a little bit about the festival you got going on. Where can people, if people could go to it, where can people get tickets and be able to find the festival?
Yeah, so if you go to fearfamefestival.com / tickets, they are on sale. You could get tickets just to see Hunter's Cabin, or you get our full access pass, which is to see Hunter's the whole festival and our party. And then also there's one just for the festival. You just want to come strictly for the festival. So there's three different options. We do have Jason London. I don't know if you've ever seen Dazed and Confused or a couple other movies he did back then. He'll be our special guest, doing some Q&A and hanging out with everybody. So he'll be our special guest. But yeah, we're going to do our premiere of Hunter's Cabin. Then right after that, the festival will kick off, a bunch of documentaries, shorts, features, student films, and then we do a little award ceremony at the end. It is taking place on November 8th at NCG Cinemas, which is in Tampa, which is, I believe, is the Citrus Park Mall. I forget what mall it is. It's one of the malls. If you type in NCG Cinema Tampa, it pops up. I forget what mall it is. We changed location this year. We used to do it at another location, but they shut down that theater or new owners changed and whatever. But yeah, so we'll be at that new one.
That's awesome, brother. Well, thank you so much, especially being able to meet you and Heather. And I know Heather will be joining me pretty soon, hopefully in the next few weeks on the show. But dude, it is awesome and an honor to be able to meet you guys, and I hope we will be able to like work together someday. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, man, definitely. It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me on, and I hope you come out on November 8th and check it out.
Definitely, I would love to come there, man, and definitely be able to talk to everybody and be able to watch an amazing film. I love these events because you be able to get to, like I said, meet so many amazing people and just have a great time and just be creative with each other. You know.
Exactly. So,
Yeah,
sounds
bro.
good.
I know you got some editing to do, and I know you got a lot of work to do before the whole shebang and party. But
hmm
thank you so much, man. Again,
Thank
we are
you.
gonna stay in contact, definitely for sure. Thank you everybody for watching Animal Expedition Files. I appreciate everybody. I know it's a Sunday. I know it's weird, but
Mhm.
it's still fun. But hope everybody
That's
has a good night. And Joe, hope you have an amazing night. And can't wait to hear about everything that goes on.
that sounds good. Thank you again.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.
soon.